Please welcome Miss Chintamani Bird.
Hey, gorgeous people. I am Chintamani and I am really happy to be here. I'm really thankful to distinguished guests and I have a load of paperwork in front of you. Okay, so good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen and distinguished guests. I am a designer from Australia that specialises in something that's called biophilic design, and it specialises in how ecology, neuroscience and design merge to actually make our world heal, people heal, and our lives a lot better. But in our current anthropic and anthropocene era, we as individuals and nations are strongly influenced by the belief that economics, money, and return on investment, it takes priority over everything, over humans, over everything. So it's the priority, and basically it is the priority over almost anything else, especially the environment. Relegating the ecological and biodiverse impact to token gestures, and as Swayze would say, putting bacon in the corner. So before you need to check out and think I'm another environmentalist, greenie, tree hugger, that lives in a vacuum and has no clue about neoliberalism, concepts and constructs of economics in our current political landscape, I would encourage you to stay with me just for the 7 minutes, with an open heart and an open mind. And before you question anything, I implore you to understand and know the leader that stands before you and represents these ideas in front of you and for you today. The unique gift that I have, if you can call it that, or that I bring, is that I am the designer, but I'm also the victim, the survivor, the leader, the activist, and the broken, pulverised into nothingness by the militant narcissist, the sociopaths, the psychopaths, and pedophiles. My innocence was taken before I could count and only stopped 18 months ago. The passion and drive that you see today is of a heart and mind and a body that is in constant search to heal. My dream and hope is that one day my brain, my mind, my body will be able to finally let go and feel calm of the pain. And your response will be, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot, Chintamani. How are you going to deal with that? I am a lot. But what has that got to do with economics and return on investment? What's that got to do with health, wellness, design, putting biophilic design in the built environment? Please, just explain. Here are some mind-blowing facts for you. Mental health issues cost the economy roughly 4 to 5% of the GDP in developed nations. Domestic violence imposes a massive economic burden with an estimated cost of over £85 billion and nearly a lifetime burden of $3.6 trillion in the United States. So this is how much society's violent men are costing our civilization and our economies. It's astounding, isn't it? It's incredible when you actually look at things at the micro and macro level. But if we educated women significantly, that would boost the global economy up to $30 trillion in a lifetime of productivity. So that's huge. And still, I'm not getting to the gist of it. I'm just telling you the figures that we're actually dealing with when we're dealing with economy and return on investment. Okay? I'll get to the good stuff. But I've got to shuffle my actual paper. Anyway, to clarify, when we design for mental health with biophilic design, so currently England spends £300 billion annually on mental health. Australia does $300 billion annually, and United United States, $1 trillion annually. But they say, well, we can't spend it, we don't have the money. All right, we don't have the money, we need to work out how we're going to do that, pushing so much and squeezing so much more. But it actually is a well-documented clinical results that if you use, not as a token, but fully embraced ecological and biodiversity into the environment and put that at the forefront, there is a 21% difference in healing the actual and mental load and mental health. So that is, I think it's $63 billion a year if we actually put the environment first, and then your ROI actually improves. It is $210 billion for the states. How do you do that? So biophilic design actually is about how the brain functions and how we evolved as humans. As humans, we evolved cavemen. All right, we survived in cavemen. We survived, and the brain actually understands fractals, understands how it works through sound, through sight, through our senses. Our autonomic nervous system also calibrates to this. So when you're looking at the case study like me, and understanding that my brain is constantly, I have brain damage because of all of the things. How does that work? When you're looking at lowering blood pressure, improving neuropsychology, improving how we function, biophilic design supports not just healing, but if we put the ecological value of the environment in front of ROI improves, and we also improve climate change. We also improve mental health. We also improve and enable our abilities to support and lower blood pressure for not just victims, but for perpetrators. Because when you're actually feeling more relaxed, you don't perpetrate as much as you would have unless it's in a high-stress environment. So, if you would like to know more about biophilic design, come and see me. My name is Chintamani. It is a doozy of a name, I know. I am in Australia. Reach out on LinkedIn, and my company is Studio Chintamani. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.